All right, let's dive into this. Atomic Habits by James Clear. Ready to explore how tiny changes can lead to huge results.
Absolutely. It's all about those small, consistent habits.
That's what we're focusing on today.
Yeah.
How shifting our mindset, those systems, and even starting small can create some pretty big transformations. We're even going to uncover the secrets behind British cycling's success, from those tiny little tweaks they made.
Yeah, it's fascinating. We always think about those big, sweeping changes, but those consistent, almost invisible improvements, those are the real drivers.
It's a whole different perspective. And that's exactly what James Clear gets right in this book. It's not about the big New Year's resolutions.
Hmm.
It's about getting 1% better every single day that compounds over time.
Right, right.
Just think about it. Just 1% better leads to a 37% improvement over a year.
That's the beauty of compounding. We see this in finance with compound interest.
Yeah.
Small deposits consistently over time, and you build significant wealth.
It's the same with habits. Those tiny actions, repeated consistently, accumulate. They lead to remarkable growth in any area you choose.
Absolutely.
So how do we go beyond just setting goals and actually get those results?
Yeah.
Atomic Habits really pushes the power of systems, right?
Yes, absolutely. One of my favorite quotes from the book: "You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems."
Powerful stuff.
So it's really calling us to focus on building solid processes to get that outcome we want. So instead of just thinking about, I want to lose weight, what systems can you put in place to make healthy eating effortless
So true.
and enjoyable?
Yeah, so practical. So like meal prepping on Sundays, having healthy snacks ready, finding an exercise buddy, all these things can help you become healthier
Exactly.
without just relying on willpower.
And Atomic Habits doesn't stop there. It delves into identity-based habits.
Ew.
This is where things get interesting.
Okay.
Instead of, I want to be a writer, you start thinking, I am a writer.
Interesting.
And that little shift in identity can completely change your actions.
It's almost like reprogramming, right? Your self-image
Yes.
to match what you want to be.
Yeah.
And then you naturally do things that fit that new identity.
Yeah.
Like if you see yourself as a writer, you're more likely to write, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Find inspiration, make choices that help your writing goals.
Exactly. And this applies to anything. If you want to be more financially responsible, start thinking of yourself as someone good with money.
Why?
It's amazing how our actions just naturally follow how we see ourselves.
So we're not just changing behaviors, we're changing how we see ourselves, which then leads to those lasting changes.
Mm.
Speaking of incredible transformations, let's talk about British cycling
Oh, yeah.
that James Clear highlights in the book.
The story of Dave Brailsford and his pursuit of marginal gains,
Yes,
that idea totally changed British cycling.
revolutionized it. Before Brailsford, they weren't really a big deal in the cycling world.
Yeah.
I mean, they were so far behind, some bike companies wouldn't even sell to them. But then Brailsford comes in with this radical yet simple idea. Find tiny improvements, 1% gains in everything the team does.
Everything.
And I mean everything.
Every single thing.
They looked at everything, from the bike seats to the massage gel they used.
Right.
They even tested different fabrics for their suits to reduce drag.
Wow.
Each improvement seemed small on its own, but together, they were powerful.
It's that aggregation of marginal gains.
Yeah.
So cool.
Sounds like a bunch of tiny tweaks. But the results, they were amazing. British cycling went from underdog to dominating the Olympics and the Tour de France.
That's the power of those consistent small improvements applied across the board. They lead to monumental shifts in results. It's a lesson for anyone trying to succeed.
So it's not about those overnight transformations you see in movies. It's about chipping away at your goals, making small improvements, and trusting those will lead to something remarkable. Atomic Habits also talks about how this journey isn't always easy. There's the valley of disappointment and the plateau of latent potential.
Yeah, these are phases so many people experience when they are trying to build new habits. The valley of disappointment, that's that initial phase where you're working hard but not seeing those results.
Right. You start to wonder, is it even worth it?
Mhm.
You're going to the gym, eating healthy, writing every day, but you don't see the weight loss, the book deal, or the perfect writing.
Exactly.
It's tempting to just give up.
It is.
But Claire explains that even though you may not see the results on the surface, all that effort is building up underneath.
It is.
He calls it the plateau of latent potential.
Such a good visual.
It really is. It's
Yeah.
like an ice cube melting.
Oh, I like that.
You apply heat, nothing seems to happen, but then suddenly the ice cube reaches a point and melts rapidly.
It's a perfect analogy.
It is. It's the same with habits. You
Yes.
might not see results right away, but if you stay consistent and push through that valley of disappointment, you'll hit that plateau of latent potential and have a breakthrough.
You will.
All that effort you put in reaches a critical mass. It unlocks a whole new level of achievement.
Exactly.
This is such a crucial reminder. Change isn't linear.
Mm-hmm.
There will be times you feel stuck.
You will.
You'll question
You don't
yourself.
want to give up.
You want to give up,
Hmm.
but Atomic Habits reassures us that this is normal
Is.
and that we need to persevere.
Absolutely. And to help navigate these tough parts, Clear offers so many practical strategies
Yes.
that we can explore further in our next segment. Things like habit stacking, the 2-minute rule, and optimizing your environment can make a huge difference in building positive habits.
Okay, I'm excited to get into those practical tips because ultimately we want to take this knowledge and use it, right?
Yes.
Stay tuned as we break down these strategies and learn how to actually use the principles from Atomic Habits in our daily lives.
It's going to be good. Welcome back. So we left off talking about those periods where habit building feels tough. But James Clear gives us some great strategies in Atomic Habits to help with that. He talks about the 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Like a cheat code for forming habits, almost.
Okay, let's break those down. I'm all about making things easier, especially when it comes to good habits. So, how do we make it obvious?
Well, it all starts with being aware. We often just go through our days on autopilot, mindlessly doing things without even realizing.
Right.
So in Atomic Habits, he suggests something called habit scoring. You track your habits throughout the day.
Okay.
Just note if they're good, bad, or neutral. This simple act makes you aware of your habits.
Makes sense. It's like that saying, what gets measured gets managed.
Exactly.
By tracking our habits, we're shining a light on them, bringing them to the front of our minds, which is the first step to changing them. Okay, so what about making a habit attractive? How do we make things like exercising or eating veggies seem as fun as, say, scrolling through social media?
That's a good one. Clear suggests temptation bundling.
Yeah.
You pair something you want to do with something you need to do.
Okay.
Like, let's say you love watching a certain show, but you need to exercise more. Why not only let yourself watch that show while on the treadmill? You're combining something enjoyable with something necessary.
Well, I like that. It's like tricking your brain into wanting a healthy habit
Exactly.
by connecting it with something fun. Okay, so we made it obvious. We made it attractive. Now, how do we make it easy?
This is all about reducing any friction, any barriers. Make it as effortless as possible to do that habit. So optimize your environment. Make it work for you, not against you. Want to read more? Keep a book in every room,
Oh, smart.
in your bag, on your nightstand. Make it super accessible.
Right, it's like we create these little obstacles without even realizing it. Like, oh, I don't have a book, or
Yeah.
I can't find my workout clues.
Jeez.
We got to eliminate those excuses by putting things right where we'll see them naturally.
Exactly. The easier it is, the more likely you'll do it. And finally, we have make it satisfying. This is about the power of rewards.
Oh, I love this one. I'm all about celebrating the little wins, but how do we make a habit truly satisfying? I mean, it can't all be about tangible rewards, right?
No, it's not always about those material things. Sometimes the satisfaction comes from just tracking your progress, like seeing a visual representation of your consistency, a streak on a calendar. That can be really motivating.
Oh, yeah.
But hey, small rewards can also be effective. Treat yourself to something you like after a week of hitting your meditation goal.
It's about making that positive connection. You want your brain to crave that sense of achievement, which will make you want to do it again. So it seems
Yeah.
like these 4 laws really work together.
They do, they do. Making it obvious helps you make it attractive and satisfying.
Right.
Making it easy makes you stick with it, which then leads to more satisfaction. And bam, you've reinforced the habit loop.
They really are powerful.
Mm.
But Atomic Habits goes even further. It talks about the psychology of motivation and something called the Goldilocks rule.
Yes, the Goldilocks rule.
Yeah.
This one's about finding that perfect level of challenge to stay motivated. It says we're most engaged and satisfied when we're working on things that are right on the edge of our abilities.
Okay.
Not too hard, not too easy, just right.
Like finding that sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
Where we're challenged enough to stay interested, but not so overwhelmed that we quit.
Hmm.
It reminds me of those times when I'm so into a project I lose track of time completely.
Exactly. You're in the flow.
Yeah,
And Clear says this flow state is crucial for building lasting habits because it makes the process itself rewarding.
I can see that. So how do we apply this Goldilocks rule to our habit building?
Start with a manageable version of the habit and gradually increase the difficulty. If you want to run a marathon, don't start by trying to run 10 miles on your first day. Begin with a brisk walk. Slowly increase the distance and pace, and eventually you'll be running longer distances with ease.
It's like meeting yourself where you are
Yes.
and gradually pushing yourself to grow.
What?
It's all about finding that balance of challenge that keeps you going without burning out.
Exactly.
So it seems Atomic Habits gives us a whole approach to habit formation,
It does.
going beyond surface level tips and really looking at the psychology behind lasting change.
It does. But it's important to remember, building better habits isn't just about individual actions. It's about cultivating this mindset of always improving.
Right.
It's embracing the idea that those small changes over time lead to amazing transformations.
It's like shifting our focus from trying to be perfect to just getting 1% better each day. It's understanding that those tiny actions, those little choices, they're the building blocks of a better life.
And that brings us to the big question. How do we take all this from atomic habits and actually use it to make lasting change in our own lives?
Yeah, that's the key.
We'll explore that in the final part of our deep dive. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. So we've explored all these ideas, those small changes, systems, the 4 laws, even the Goldilocks rule. But now, how do we actually put this into action? How do we create real change in our own lives?
It's about moving from understanding to doing. Atomic Habits isn't just a book to read. It's like a guide to a better life.
Right.
And it starts with realizing that real change doesn't happen overnight. You don't get those movie-style makeovers.
It's so easy to fall into that trap thinking we need to change everything all at once. But Atomic Habits shows us it's a gradual process, like building something brick by brick.
Exactly. Those 1% improvements adding up over time.
It's consistency over intensity. Instead of trying to do a whole life makeover, which usually doesn't last, focus on small changes you can actually stick with.
Yeah, so instead of saying, I'm going to hit the gym for 2 hours every day, maybe it's more like, I'll do a 20-minute walk each morning or a quick strength training routine before I shower.
Right, keeping it realistic.
Exactly, setting those achievable goals. And remember those systems we talked about?
Oh yeah, they're crucial, right?
They're what connect intention to action.
It's not enough to just say, I want to eat healthier. We need systems that actually make those healthy choices easy.
Right. Meal prepping, stocking the fridge with good stuff, getting rid of those tempting food apps, finding a workout buddy for accountability.
Oh yeah, having someone to keep you on track.
These systems help you avoid those moments where your willpower might give in.
So it's about setting up your environment so those good choices just become your routine.
Exactly. You don't have to constantly fight with yourself. And that's where the 4 laws of behavior change come in. Making those habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. It's like a superpower for building those habits.
Those 4 laws really do change the game. They give us a way to turn any habit from a chore into something we actually want to do.
And it's not just about knowing them, it's about applying them to your own goals in your own way. Like, how can you use temptation bundling to make healthy choices more fun? Or how can you set up your space to make the good choices the easiest ones?
It's about taking charge of those small actions, realizing those little choices actually build our lives.
Atomic Habits shows us how to become the architects of our own lives.
Right.
It reminds us that we're not just stuck with what we've got. We can shape our lives with these small habits.
And this whole journey of changing ourselves, it's a process. There will be tough times, setbacks. You might feel stuck in that valley of disappointment.
You will.
But Atomic Habits gives us a way to deal with those challenges and come out stronger. Remember the Goldilocks rule. Find that sweet spot and celebrate all those little wins along the way.
Yes.
It's been amazing exploring Atomic Habits with you all. We hope this has inspired you to see the power of those small changes and start your own journey.
Absolutely. So, as we wrap up, think about one small habit you want to build or break. What's that one tiny change you can make today that will set you on a path to a better, more fulfilling tomorrow?
It's not about being perfect, it's about making progress. Embrace those little actions, be consistent, and trust that those small changes will add up to amazing things. Until next time, keep building those atomic habits.